All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are welcoming you to the City of Prescott regular council city meeting minute for Monday, November 25th, 2024. I'll take a roll call. Mike?
Here.
Maureen? Here. Adam?
Here.
John?
Here.
Lindsay?
Here.
Dar, and I'm here. Let's go ahead and do a Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Public comments. The City of Prescott and the City Council will receive public comments on any issue related to the agenda items. Limited discussion by the City Council may take place. So anything that's on the agenda. Anybody?
Guess not.
All right, we'll move on to number 5. The consent agenda has 4 items. Number 1, Health and Safety Committee meeting minutes, November 11th, 2024. Number 2, the City Council meeting minutes from November 11th, 2024. The Tourism Committee meeting minutes, November 13th, 2024. And the Parks and Public Works Committee meeting minutes for November 18th of 2024.
Motion to accept the consent agenda? Or
Second.
to approve the consent agenda?
Okay.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on this motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Number 6, reports of standing committees and commissions. A, Finance Committee meeting, nothing for that. Planning Commission, next meeting is Monday, December 2nd at 6 p.m. Parks and Public Works, committee report from Monday, November 18th. John?
Yeah, we had a number of items at the Parks and Public Works meeting. The 2 public works items were the lead service line verification. We discussed that at length, and we're actually going to be talking about that tonight. It's one of the agenda items on the for tonight, so I won't go into that. It's same with the lighting proposal for the Cherry and Dakota Street parking lots, also on the agenda tonight. For parks, we discussed the updates to the comprehensive outdoor recreation plan. We'll have a formal amendment proposal presented at maybe the next meeting.
Correct.
And then lastly, City of Prescott tree inventory and recommendations around tree planting and tree replacement. The staff is working on that plan. We're going to be talking about that again next month at the Parks meeting. And that was it.
I liked the tree plan and the offer of 1 tree to the residents who lost their elms. Is that
Or
the
ashes.
understanding? Pardon me?
I think it's that. No one's lost their ashes, wasn't it?
There's
Oh,
some
I mean
different
the
things being
ashes.
proposed, and we actually discussed a lot of different possibilities for that
Okay.
Okay.
replanting program.
Yeah,
But
thanks, John.
We'll have more next month probably.
The pro trees. All right. Health and Safety, the next meeting is Monday, January 13th of 2025 at 5 p.m. The next personnel meeting will be on Wednesday, February 5th at 2025 at 5 p.m. Communications and new business. Item 1 is public comments. The City Council will receive public comments on any issue not related to the agenda items. Limited discussion by the City Council may take place. However, no action will be taken on any item. This does include receiving written requests or documentation and possible action at a future meeting. Any public comments? Anything? All right, number 2, discussion and review of the Mississippi River Trail within the City of Prescott. Matt?
Yes, thank you. So Sherry with the Wisconsin, I want to make sure I get this right, the Wisconsin Mississippi River Parkway Commission and Francis with the Wisconsin Department of Transportation are here to present the Mississippi River Trail bicycle route. And I know our county representative, Chris Sampson, also is part of that, so she's here as well. So I'm gonna turn it over to them, and if you guys wanna step up here, we got it all queued up and ready to go for you.
Thank you, Matt. My name is Sherry Kwame. I chair the Wisconsin-Mississippi River Parkway Commission, which is the Wisconsin Great River Road, all 250 miles of it. You are an anchor community and an anchor county as well, and it's my pleasure to introduce Chris Sampson in another capacity. She is our Pierce County Commissioner, appointed by Governor Evers, and very happy to have you with us, so thank you. Francis Shelfout is our DOT leader connection, and we just are wanting to thank you for having us on your agenda tonight. Francis will tour you through the purpose of our meeting with you, the Mississippi River Trail Project, and the importance, of course, of Pierce County and Prescott.
Thanks, Sherry. As Sherry alluded to, my name is Francis Shelfout. I work for the Department of Transportation out of the La Crosse office. I'm our bicycle and pedestrian coordinator. I'm also the liaison to the Wisconsin Mississippi River Parkway Commission at the state level, and I'm also I co-chair the National Transportation Committee for that same 10-state group. So the Mississippi River Trail, as we'll talk about tonight, there's a statewide effort to get the Mississippi River Trail designated through the state of Wisconsin. That's a partnership between the Parkway Commission, the Department of Transportation, Wisconsin DNR, and then the Mississippi River Regional Planning Commission, which manages 10 counties. The Mississippi River Trail is, on both sides of the river, through 10 states, is 3,000 miles long. Wisconsin has about 250 miles of that. The Mississippi River Trail is currently signed through 8 states. Wisconsin's one that's not. So we're behind, which is primarily what we're here for, is to aim for that signage eventually. But for us to get to that point, there's some things that have to happen. The 10-state organization is aiming to get the MRT, the Mississippi River Trail, designated a U.S. bike route. To gain U.S. bike route status, a resolution needs to be acquired from every community that the route runs through. Now, this is based upon municipal boundaries, not state or highway or roadway jurisdiction. So when we talk about the routing of it through the city of Prescott, we're following Highway 10. Our recommendation is to follow Highway 10 and Highway 35. Well, those are both state highways. So people say, why us? We're still passing through your community. And so to get U.S. bike route status, we need a resolution from every community that it runs through based upon municipal limits. So what does that mean for us? Formal designation means resolutions from 8 counties. I could go through the laundry list. 78 communities is who we're going to have to get resolutions from. Right now, we've got resolutions from all but 2, from Buffalo, Trempealeau, La Crosse, Vernon, Crawford, and Grant counties. We're only missing 2 from those 6 counties. And I've got 1 already from Pierce and Pepin County, and we've got all the meetings set up to meet with all the Pierce and Pepin County municipalities over the next 3 months. So that kind of puts us where we're at. Once we get the formal designation, that those base resolutions, then we'll work towards the signage piece. Benefits to the community. The biggest one is economic benefit. The fact of the matter is getting a U.S. bike route designated through your community brings cross-country rides. Oftentimes they're one of the biggest things. They may be day-long or like weekend-long, like 3-day type trips and other things. It brings tourism money. That's the biggest economic thing. But there's health benefits. Anytime you can get anything that encourages outdoor activities and recreational uses has health benefits, not only to the community, but our population as a whole. So what we're looking at from you guys today is to look at the couple of routes that we've identified that go through the city of Prescott, basically the main routes on the state highways, but then also in the packet we'll talk about the alternate route that kind of goes along the river for those 3 blocks at the very northern end, or I say northern end, just south of Highway 10. And then to talk about the pros and cons of those 2 routes and hopefully come to a decision that what you guys recommend as the preferred route, we can work towards that as our final resolution. Whether that resolution comes tonight or not, I have included a resolution in your packet tonight. It's not intended to be presumptive. I want to be very clear about that. The blue text is what is specific to the city of Prescott. So you'll see City of Prescott referenced multiple times, and then you'll see some turn-by-turn directions specific to the city of Prescott. That's in the single handout that's like 3 pages long. A couple of slides about all the economic benefits. I'm going to skip over this. You guys can read that at your leisure. There's U.S. Biking economic benefits, there's state economic benefits, and then there's outdoor recreation spending, which is a closely related piece that oftentimes comes with mountain biking, fat tire biking, and other outdoor recreation that includes the biking communities. As Sherry alluded to, the Great River Road is a counterpart in this, not only from the effort from the standpoint of the ownership or management of the MRT as a whole, but ultimately they are the owners of the Great River Road and stewards of the Great River Road. So they just reached All-American Road status a couple years back in 2021, which has garnered some substantial marketing grants, both at federal marketing grants and state marketing grants that have helped them market that new status. The MRT and getting that designation would only bolster those abilities to cross-pollinate those marketing efforts. And I say cross-pollinate, which kind of opens to the next piece, because Wisconsin DNR and the state of Wisconsin and I'm drawing a blank, the organization, Pollinator. Operation Pollination just kicked off the longest corridor pollinator effort in the world. Kicked off along the Mississippi River back in fall of this year, actually out off of Lake Onalaska, just north of La Crosse. And that's a huge effort with multiple national agencies kicking that off, and that's also being used as part of that. The DOT specifically, we're looking for any grading projects that we do along Highway 35 and along the corridors to use pollinator plantings versus our regular seed mixes for roadsides to try to assist with that effort. Some more statistics, skip over that. I want to talk about the process, really short. First step is identify existing conditions. If you Google Mississippi River Trail, Wisconsin, you're going to find a 13-page pamphlet on the internet. It's on the internet, it must be true, right? You've all seen that commercial, the French model part? Yeah, no, but the reason why I started there is because somebody drew it on a map at one point, and that was published actually on the DOT website, but there's no foundational piece behind it, there's no resolutions backing it up. But we use that as our starting point, because if somebody were to Google it and follow it, those people were using that as their route currently. So we started with that. Then we went and we looked at parallel routes closer to the river, and we'll talk about the criteria that we used that might be used as an alternate route compared to those existing ones. Which brings us to step 3, where we're here meeting with you guys to talk about what do you know best about your local area? Where do people want to go? When you have visitors, where do they need to stop? You know, the local recommendation, where's the best place to eat in town? That type of a thing. That's where this local knowledge comes in with identifying what's that best route. Once we get to that point, then we work towards that resolution, whether that's tonight or in meetings ahead. Once we get all those resolutions, we can formally file for both a state and U.S. bike route with those resolutions to both our state bike route coordinator and then also to the U.S. It goes to AASHTO and to Adventure Cycling, are the two managers of the U.S. bike route designations. So we'll file that paperwork once we get all 78 resolutions. Once we get that designation, and I say once because I can't imagine that they're going to say no, because this is one of their identified routes along both sides of the Mississippi River. Once we get to that point, we get U.S. bike route status, then we'll be reaching back out to, again, bolster that marketing and really bang that tourism benefit the best we can. Again, if you search the internet, this is one of those pages. You can see Prescott is actually at the very north end of Wisconsin, and it's page 1 or section 1 of that 13-page pamphlet. This is that existing conditions that I referenced in those steps previously. When we look to optimize the local route, these were the criteria that we used. Proximity to the river, because it is named the Mississippi River Trail. We look to get as close to the river as we possibly can without dead-ending it, right? Access to destinations was a very important thing, getting them to lodging, food, local businesses, parks, right? Museums, those types of things are all big deals, and we wanted to make sure we hit those as best we could. Lower volumes, vehicle volumes and lower speeds was always a priority whenever we could get to that point. Complementary bicycle facilities could be like we were using the state bike trail down through Buffalo and Trempealeau County, separated facility, no mixing with vehicles, generally more scenic and a more relaxing and safe environment. So that was one that we chose through those communities because that opportunity presented itself. Other things we looked at, distance off the direct route, so in some cases, we could have gotten over to a community with no other benefit other than, it went through the community, but that's a detriment too because it took them 3 miles out of the way. So it's one of those things, you gotta weigh everything, right? And so we took all those things into account, route surface, gravel or paved, and then county bicycle condition maps. So these are 2 cutouts. This is the main city, village, and towns map for the city of Prescott. And then we just blew this up to kind of show you that other alternate route. Again, just following, I can't remember if it's Front Street or First Street, the one that's right there by the river. If you were to come across the Highway 10 bridge, you could take that little spiral exit ramp for bicyclists down by the park, and then follow the river road right down by the railroad bridge, and then back up to get back up on Highway 35. Although it takes you off of the main road, and lower volumes, lower speeds, it's only for about 2 blocks, and we felt that it would do more of a disservice to the businesses on the east side of 35 than it would be for the betterment for just those 2 blocks for the gain. So that's why again, the sample resolution that I handed you guys recommends, or the language turn-by-turn directions is staying on Highway 10 and Highway 35. This resolution that's in the PowerPoint is the same one you've got. The only difference is we've inserted everything specific to the city of Prescott. This is the timeline that we're generally on, and I say this because the biggest thing to pay attention to is this says 18 to 24 months. We've been at this 36 months right now. We're coming to the very end of that 36 months. Hopefully in March is kind of my goal. And the timing is perfect because ultimately we have 4 legislative representatives on the Parkway Commission. All 4 have drafted, it's bipartisan, and we've gotten support to pay for all the signs through a legislative action. It wouldn't cost any specific community anything initially. Now, obviously, we're all taxpayers, so I'm not trying to gloss over that. It's coming out of our taxes one way or the other. But the fact of the matter is it's not going to come out of your specific budget. It'll come out of a separate line item that the legislator will put in the budget. They actually had it drafted and had it passed in the last biennial budget. We just didn't have enough resolutions done that they felt confident enough that we were going to be able to spend the money in that biennial. And they had the correct foresight because we wouldn't have. The fact of the matter is we're really well positioned to do it this time, and they've supported us through that process. Based upon that, with the legislative budget cycle being what it is, we would anticipate that we would probably get to signage in 2026. So that kind of covers that piece there. When we talk about road signage and what they're paying for, this would be examples of that. This picture here is an example where it would be the Mississippi River Trail in and of itself separated. So if you were on, like I said, the state trail down in Buffalo and Trumbull County, it would be just a single sign that just says you're on the MRT, right? But most of ours would be, and it's through your community specifically, would be shared with the Great River Road signs. So this is a picture from my counterpart in Missouri, where the Great River Road and the Mississippi River Trail share the same route. So this would be similar to what you'd see through your community, where you see your Great River Road sign, you see your MRT sign side by side. One thing to keep in mind is that the U.S. bike route sign has been changed since the MRT was originally done. And you can see it's slightly different, but substantially the same. The only difference would be this is the plate that we're looking at here, and this would be MRT at the bottom versus the 79. So very minor in the scheme of things, still the same, I call it an acorn type look. The one signage that would not be covered by this would be local marketing and signage like this. This is an example from my counterpart up in Minneapolis. The one thing I do want to point out to you guys, because I'm aware of some of the efforts that you guys have going on with your trail system on the south side through my counterpart that works out of the Eau Claire and Spooner office, is that you may have some very close connections to that trail when you get to the southern part of town as your trail crosses under the bridge. I think that's kind of the proposed routing. These types of signs might be an opportunity to sign, hey, this connects to City of Prescott Trail System, or whatever the naming convention that you guys would be having at that point. It would also give opportunities to connections to other things that may not be directly on the route, but these would be like a pay-to-play type of a thing, kind of like the blue signs on the interstate. Those companies pay for those organizations pay for their amenities to be on those signs. FAQs, I try to cover these in the thing. I guess I missed one thing tonight, but I'll just kind of reiterate it. The resolutions are necessary for us to make the U.S. bike route status versus a letter of support. It is based on municipal boundaries, not by jurisdiction of the roadway. Costs, again, the legislators are going to draft that again for us to put into the budget. We had a meeting, was it 2 weeks ago, I think it was now, this coming Friday. And it seemed like we got affirmation that they're going to submit that again for us. One thing that wasn't included initially, and that's why I put this in red here, initially we were planning to put the maintenance back on the municipalities, and this would fall back on the jurisdiction of the roadways. So again, it wouldn't fall back on the city of Prescott in this case because it would be our roadways. But the fact of the matter is they're going to put the maintenance back on the communities that the roadways jurisdiction was on. A large part of our roadways down in Grant County are actually on county and town roads. And we heard a huge outcry from them. And even in the city of La Crosse, where it's connecting highways, that would have fallen back on them. The legislators sound like they're going to write new legislation that will actually pay for that maintenance on that 10 to 15 year cycle. So it'll never be a burden on the municipalities that it runs through. But again, the taxpayer piece, I mentioned I would come back to this. Cost per installation is $250 to $350 per sign, and the life expectancy is 10 to 15 years if they're not damaged in some other way. Contact information is here. Sherry's at the top, is at the top because she is our chair of the Parkway Commission. Chris's name is in the middle because she's way higher on the pecking scale than I am, and I'm at the very bottom because that's where I belong. And with that, I'm going to open up to questions. Yes.
Actually, I have more of a comment. I am all in favor of this designation. I think this is what's happening in the community already, and it will just be helpful to the cyclists who are currently using the Great River Road in knowing where they are and that kind of thing. But I want to say that I'm so glad to see the three of you here tonight. We have had ongoing conversations with the Department of Transportation about a bike path up the Great River Road from downtown on Highway 35, just up the hill, and have been consistently told we cannot have what we want. And it is a blind spot going up the hill. I'm a cyclist. My son is a cross-country cyclist. And I think this road, because of the wear and tear, over 14,000 cars a day, traffic on the road, and because of that, the road gets torn up. It's in terrible condition right now, but it's slated to be redone in '29. And as a part of that redoing, we wanted an enlarged bike and walking path on the left side as it comes up from downtown. And we've been told that there's the existing bike trail, they call it, is adequate. It is not adequate. I've ridden it many times. It's full of debris constantly.
Bike lane.
Not lane, yeah.
Yeah.
Not bike trail.
Bike trail, yeah. It's the bike lane is full of debris almost all the time, and the road gets torn up because it's a heavy use road. That it makes it really, you have to cycle in the car lane up there.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Because you cannot, I would be afraid of, because you're in your lower gears going up that hill, it's dangerous for people like me who aren't as experienced bikers as the guys that wear the yellow caution suits.
Yep.
Like my son.
Yep.
So I just, I wish that we had had better cooperation because we know how many bicyclers use this road. And I live right there. I can see how many people use the road. And they cycle in groups. They just,
Yeah.
So I would really like us to I don't want to say pressure because the Department of Transportation is good to work with. And I just really would like to see that a better pathway is put in, not for the whole road, but just while it's in the city of Prescott up to the Great River Road Learning Center from the main street downtown.
Okay. that's a lot.
I know, it's a
so-
lot of money. What
so,
were we
well, no,
told,
and
Matt,
so-
it might be if we were to take it on ourselves?
I don't remember off the top of my head.
So there's a couple things that come into that, and I am not trying to skirt this because it's my job. It's kind of a goofy thing. So the Great River Road covers, the majority of their length is within my jurisdiction. I cover 8 counties. Pierce and Pepin County are not in my area.
Oh.
So to start with, I don't know your area as well, so to my defense. That said, so bike lanes, the first thing I would check on is, do you guys have connecting highway limits in the city of Prescott? Does anybody here?
I'm sorry, what was
Do you guys
that?
have connecting highway limits in the city of Prescott?
I don't think
I don't know that. So that would be the
think so.
first thing I would check. So if there's connecting highway limits, the street sweeping falls on that municipality to maintain. So if there's debris in that bike lane and it's within connecting highway limits, it's your responsibility to clean it. If it's not, then, okay, that's a conversation to be had then. Okay?
You
So
would
that's the
have
first
to
thing.
sweep it every week because of the condition
Well,
of the road.
And the condition of the road, that's a whole nother thing, because you're saying that that's scheduled. One thing that I can say is the Department of Transportation does not fund multi-use paths. We don't. I tell that to my communities, and I tell it to you if you were my community directly, either way, we don't. That said, there are programs that pay for 80% of those types of amenities. And if they're going to do this construction in 2029, which seems like a long ways off, it's not. If that improvement allows for this trail to be built next to it, you know, in conjunction with the sidewalk or whatever, and narrow the road up or other things that could happen to make that separated facility, to get it elevated the 6 inches so that the road debris doesn't end up on the trail itself, and the city was willing to pay the 20% match. There's a program called the Transportation Alternatives Program. The solicitation for that next program will open sometime after the first of this coming year. And that'll be for construction in 27, 28, and 29.
Transportation, what program?
Alternative program, we call it
Alternative.
TAP. So if you look for the TAP program, if you go to the DOT website and search TAP, or
Okay.
Matt, if you remind me, or somebody else send me an email, I'll send you the information. I'll send you the website.
That'd be great.
But that program is out there, and it's about connecting bikes and peds to communities, to destinations, so Freedom Park and museums and businesses, and I don't know where the school sits, and all these different things are all part of that application process. My counterpart, Dina Ryan, is the bicycle and pedestrian coordinator that works out of the Spooner office for the Northwest region. She's fantastic to work with, and she'd be happy to help you through that TAP application process. If you don't get what you're asking for out of her, please feel free to reach out to me again, because it would be something that, for our purposes, and I know we've done it down in Prairie du Chien and then south of La Crosse, they're going to extend a multi-use path from basically the South City limits all the way down to Goose Island County Park, and we'll be redesignating the MRT to get onto that trail system versus the shoulder of Highway 35. So it benefits the MRT from that perspective. So I can maybe cross jurisdictional boundaries from my job duties because I oversee the MRT and the Great Road to assist you guys with that. So if that's something you're interested in, that would be my recommendation to get you that separated facility. I don't know, again, I'd have to look, at Google Earth and look at your, what your profile looks like, what the cross-section looks like, if there's room, how much storm sewer you've got. And there's a lot of things that go into that decision.
I know.
And those
Well,
costs.
the
but-
road is very narrow there because there's a bluff that comes up on the one side and then there's the drop off to the river on the other.
Is it urban?
Yeah,
got
it's
curb and
right in the
gutter?
middle of the city.
It's a curb and gutter? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, if you told me like street to street where your biggest concerns is, give me some context and stuff, I could probably help you out with just some contextual pieces that might help. So,
Can you
Absolutely.
connect
Well, it's the south side of
Can you connect
the
the
main,
focus?
of Jefferson or Main Street, and it goes up to the turn to the Great River Road, which
Yeah.
is Monroe.
the streets are, can you connect on a, right off the downtown and top is Locust.
I can show you on the map.
Yeah.
help me.
Yeah, yeah, Chris is real
Actually, it's right
familiar
Chris
with it.
knows.
Right here.
The issue is that the highway would need to be narrowed, which it could be, because it already has, is it 6 foot or 4 foot?
4
bike-
foot lanes on each side.
4 foot? 4 foot bike lanes on each side, but
Yep.
could be narrowed, eliminate those bike lanes.
Right.
And that would afford room for a,
And we've
multi-use
repurposed,
path.
other roads like that. It all depends on the improvement that's coming in 29, that would be
Yeah.
the biggest concern.
And the-
Because
the
if they're
DOT
just
has said they
grinding,
won't
because if
do
they're
it.
just grinding off the asphalt, then that would be outside of our scope
Yep.
of narrowing the roadway. But if they're doing pavement replacement, which is the next highest level of improvement, then those types of conversations where we move the gutter line in and reshift the roadway away from the, I'm assuming you'd put the trail on the west side. Yes, maybe?
we were talking east side,
East side,
The reason
Yeah.
for it is
the
it's
non-river side.
the non-river side?
gone, it's got a guardrail and it's short, if somebody would hit it, they would go down, I don't know how many feet.
Gotcha,
Yeah.
okay, okay. So, but anyways, so those are all the contextual pieces that help me better understand and say, these would be the hurdles you'd run into, these would the costs would be, and I'd have to find out the scope of that project to find out, that I'm not leading you down a road that, like I said, if they're just milling and overlaying it, then all bets are off, because they wouldn't be moving the curb and gutter line, now your costs go through the roof.
And that's what's going on, right, Matt?
Yes, that's,
It's
so
mill
I
and
mean,
overlay, yeah.
It's just
not that I
another-
wanna put a damper on council spirits, but we've kind of gone through this for 2 years and we've tried this path and it didn't
Yeah.
work for us and,
We
I
have a
would,
new designation now, though.
yeah, maybe with the new designation.
Well,
But
so,
it is a mill and overlay.
you know what's funny you say that though, because that's actually where I thought you were going with this thing, because most of the time, that's one of the questions is, does it require us to widen the roadway, or does it mean anything that way? The biggest thing is that for me, it helps. So we're down in Sherry's from Ferryville area, down in Crawford County, and down there, they had like 6 feet of total shoulder width, and we were only paving, I wanna say 2 feet is about all we had
8
paved.
inches.
That was what was left, Sherry, but besides the point, no, I joke.
I know that
But
area
ultimately,
well.
we're going back, we're paving all 6 feet now because of the resolutions that we've got, and because I can say this will be a US bike route when this project comes around. And so we actually paved one last year, and it's all 6 feet are paved. And we got a couple more segments just south of her community that'll all be paved to that full shoulder width. We're not widening the road, we're just paving more of what shoulder is out there to provide a wider space and
Yeah.
more shy distance from the
Yeah.
truck traffic and stuff like that, so. But without the designation, I can't argue that as well, and so that's the part that's beneficial to me when we're scoping a project.
Who did you say your colleague is that is in charge of this area?
Dina Ryan is my bike ped coordinator counterpart out of. school.
Nina Ryan?
Dina, D-E-N-A,
Okay.
Ryan.
D-E-N.
R-Y-A-N.
Okay.
Who's our DOT person,
Dina Ryan,
your counterpart?
Dina Ryan.
But not, that's for the ped and whatever, but what about?
Yeah,
the
I
road?
saw that his is the.
For the Great River Road?
You said you don't have Pearson, Pepin
Oh.
County. Who does?
Again, I'm a bike ped coordinator, so for
Okay,
me,
so
Dina Ryan is my counterpart
Okay.
for these 8 counties
Gotcha.
up here, yep, yep.
Thank you, I really appreciated that.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Okay. Thank you so much.
welcome.
We appreciate you being here.
Dar,
Yeah.
Sorry not to
Yep,
interrupt
and then,
you.
yeah.
I think what we're looking from council, so we don't have to have them come back, is if, the resolution is before you, it's a little bit different than we usually do. Usually we have the finalized resolution, but because there is an alternate proposal, it does leave the option to change it, but, instead of having to have them come back for another meeting, if, you're willing to consider the resolution, passing it tonight for the approval, then we can, whatever route you prefer, I think that's what you guys were looking for, right? Then we would alter the resolution and have it signed by the mayor and Rochelle after you guys approve it tonight.
As far as the alternate route that we have, that you laid out on here, I do agree. I think that that's a good idea to do that, especially in the, when this is going to be used a lot, which is in the summertime. There's a lot of the vehicle traffic in that intersection, and so to kind of route all the bikers away from that and up the path and then up over the bridge, I think is a good idea. So.
Well, to clarify, you think that it's,
He wants to come down.
you believe that it would be better to have the alternate route as the primary route? Or you believe it's good to have an alternate route as down on
Is this,
Front Street?
is this maybe I misunderstand this, is this a proposal to switch the routes?
I
Or-
believe it's,
The existing route, yes, it does bring you right down downtown 35. The alternate route would bring you on Front Street next to the river there.
Across all the
so we're.
voters and
We're
everybody
picking one or
else
the
down
other
there.
though, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, you can't have two routes.
Right.
Okay.
The alternate route
Has-
we've got on the US Pike Road is where the Merrimack Ferry goes, because the Merrimack Ferry doesn't run all the time. And
Okay.
then we have to have a second route
All right,
because
so
we
there's,
want to use the Merrimack.
it's just one primary route and this is
Correct,
just
yes.
two options for that.
One or the other, yeah. That's what I thought.
And you prefer the green route because it takes people past the stores. Otherwise, the alternate route skips the stores.
For those 3 blocks or 2 blocks.
Yeah.
Two bucks.
That's why we had thought that it would be
Yeah.
referred by you guys.
I don't know, the
Again,
only ones.
whatever you want is.
Our downtown's not exactly conducive to bicyclists.
No, it's
It's just that we need some kind of
dangerous,
signage or
actually.
something coming down, because there's a lot of
But it also
pedestrian
brings
traffic
people
at
down
that time
to
too.
the new park area.
Yeah.
I think too, which is a good idea.
I like it down
Well, won't get quite
closer to
that
the river
far
myself.
Yeah,
to New Park though.
that's a good area to take a break.
But I do see people pulling up to the businesses downtown on the weekends, with their bicycles, parking on Main Street. But,
Well, and this wouldn't,
People can
exclude them
go
from going
that way.
Yeah, they still would have the option.
yeah,
Hook up their bikes down there and
So
walk
it's
up.
the blue route.
yeah.
It's just would have the sign, but they still would go. Yeah.
If that's your preference, I would just change the turn-by-turn directions and send it back to Matt tomorrow with that change and make the blue route. I think it's in the blue route. I mean, the approved route, the red one, would then be changed to match that blue one on that one. If that's what your preference is.
I think that's a good idea.
Personally, I don't see a lot of difference in traffic with the bikes down through there anyway, because we have quite a few people go through already.
Well, it's the big trucks that back out.
Well, it's everything. I mean, the motorcycles and
Yeah.
cars. I mean, it's not it's always seems to be full all summer long during that time of day.
Well, there's also the possibility or likelihood, once we get the designation, if that all goes through, that we'll see more traffic, more bicyclist traffic.
Well, we
too,
might, yeah,
on this stuff, especially down the road.
but we got quite a bit already.
Yeah,
Is there a
we do.
ramp, is there a ramp that goes down there from that?
It's kind of like a spiral
from
ramp that comes
cul-de-sac
around.
behind Muddy Waters? There's a
Yes.
ramp that goes
Yeah.
up onto the bridge?
It's just one of those things,
My
though,
only
it's
concern is what's the width of the sidewalk, because you'd be funneling.
approximately 8 feet.
Because you'd be funneling all bicycles onto that.
Yeah, and the deal is there's,
Bi-directional, so, because you'd be telling everybody to cross.
You're talking about the ramp specifically?
yeah, and then you'll have traffic
Yeah, that's like
approximately
6 or
both ways
8,
possible, and along with all the pedestrians. I don't know.
Still think it's better than downtown.
I'm just asking the question, I did not.
I'd have to look at it. I mean, I actually don't think I've biked on it.
I thought that our riverfront project did propose that this be the route from the Minnesota Trail that ends on their side of the bridge.
I don't remember
Could I
that.
say something?
Yeah, go
You
ahead.
want to step up here? We gotta
Come on.
get more people up to that. Come on up. Thanks, Chris.
I think in your plan, the one where we talk about where the steamboat property is, where there are steps now, that's really where where it crosses the bridge. So ultimately, yes, the goal would be to have another arc there.
Oh, instead of like
Right.
the
Instead
of
one
the-
on the
the
other
pedestrian.
side.
Right, so
Yeah.
right now, you still have to cross the
Traffic,
highway at the stoplight, walk your bike across or drive across to get on the Minnesota side. But when you're coming from the Minnesota side, same thing, you'll have to cross the highway and then go down the circular.
So you're not saying that they'll come down the normal roadway?
So we had spoke at one point about Mike Kinnaman creating a bike carrier on the railing up the steps on that north side of the bridge, in the meantime, so that you could, come across and go up and down on the stair side.
So currently, our ramp is on the south side.
Correct. So it doesn't easily just, flow off of the bridge and down onto it. You still have to cross at the stoplight.
So if we,
But I still think the river view, if you were the biker, I guess having them go closer to the water, to me, in my opinion, is a better route. Even though, because if you're going to stop and go get coffee or you're going to do anything, you would park your bike there and walk up anyway.
Is there space on the north side? Does the city have enough room to build a ramp over there?
That's what the plan was when the condos were
Well,
gonna come in.
I think that's owned by the DOT, isn't it, where the old bridge used to come across?
Yeah, that's DOT property on
I don't,
where the.
Yep,
I
but
think
any
it's like-
plan that I've
On
seen
the north side.
included
Yes.
a
Yeah.
circle.
So the original plans back when they were first proposed, I think back in 2011, had a proposal to include a ramp that would go down and underneath the bridge.
Yeah,
and who,
that's what I'm remembering.
so that would be a city thing to, complete?
That would be at the time of negotiation based on who's doing the development, who does what. and-
It's what we'd love to see. We can have lots of those things, right? It's just money.
Yeah.
Are you talking about the Steamboat property?
Yeah.
Yeah, the
north
steamboat.
side.
See, right
So
next
the
to
north side
the,
is
the
just
north
has the
side.
stairs up.
You're saying whoever's developing that property would have to be involved?
Yes, we'd discussed at that time who would be paying for the connection for bike rep connection, and it would be plan commission and things like that would be part of that discussion.
So it would be partially on that property.
We'd have to
Be
have that
bordering.
discussion, yeah.
Okay, got it. That was my question was, is there space between that private property and the
I thought we
bridge?
had, the DOT has about like 25 feet. Now, if that's enough, I don't know.
I don't know either.
Right, I don't know either, but that was just my comment, so
Thank you.
thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
I will say too, if there are any things with the Great River Road as we go forward with things, I am the representative and we meet quarterly and there are a lot of neat things going on with the Great River Road. I do think, being active with Pierce County and with Freedom Park over the years, certainly we see the volume of visitors that come to Prescott and visit Freedom Park. So any ability to get more people there and more nationwide designation of our location is only a benefit to Prescott. Tourism tax dollars, which we now receive shared revenue from the state, for both the county and the city, all a win. So the more people eating and drinking and having fun here in Prescott, win.
Thanks, Chris.
You bet.
So,
Any other questions? A motion from anybody?
motion to approve
That's what she said.
Resolution 48-24 to support the designation of the Mississippi River Trail within the limits of the city of Prescott.
I'll second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Wait, are we voting
My
to,
apologies.
are we voting?
That's my question.
Yeah, that's my question.
Because I'll make the change. and
Well, that's what I was
send it-
wondering, which roadway did we finally decide?
The existing or alternate?
I think
The
we agreed to
alternate.
alternate.
Alternate, okay, I will amend the resolution 48-24 to support the designation of the Mississippi River Trail through the alternate route within the limits of the city of Prescott.
And I'll second that.
Motion and a second. Any other comments or questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. The next item is a review of the 2023 audit report by Johnson Block CPA. They did have to notify us that they would like to reschedule or push this to the next council meeting. So I will need to
I
have a
just
motion.
read the whole thing.
Me too.
You can read it again.
I went around twice to make sure I knew what I was talking about.
about. So we do need a motion to push this to the next council meeting.
Okay.
If anybody would like to motion.
Motion to push the audit report to the next council meeting.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any comments, questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. The next item is Resolution 49-24, approving the installation of lighting at Cherry and Dakota Street parking lots. Matt?
Thank you, Dar. We've been discussing this a couple times at the Health and Safety Committee. The overall quote for this work is basically, there's a map at the back, but it adds 6 lights to 3 of them to the Cherry Street, what we call the Cherry Street parking lot. Well, that's the one that's next to the Holiday gas station there. And then another 3 to the Dakota Street parking lot, which is right off of Dakota Street. The overall proposal from Xcel Energy to install those 6 lights is $32,529. Originally, or one of the meetings at Health and Safety, we discussed possibly taking 6 of the lights and putting them and reusing them, painting them and rewiring them. However, Xcel Energy has let us know that they wouldn't wire the lights and put them up then. We would have to basically, they would put in a box and then we'd have to run the conduit and then the wiring and then do that all of ourselves. So after discussion at Parks and Public Works Committee, we decided to move forward with the original quote from Xcel Energy. These funds would come out of the tax increment district number 4, spending for that. The original Dakota Street parking that we put forward or approved was for $60,000. We've only spent $31,695, mainly because Public Works has done all the work on that one, with the exception of the asphalt paving. And then the other remainder of $4,224 would come out of the savings that we've had from Cherry Street, which is currently $40,809 pending the bill still from the line striping for Cherry and Kinney. So with that, before you tonight is that resolution. I'll turn it over for comments and questions.
I think it's pretty good. This is, just to clarify, this is the parking lot downtown there by the gas station, right? The
Yeah,
new
it's
one
right
there?
across from my house.
That's good, because I know we've had some, in the past, some issues there with break-ins or reports of that at least, so it's kind of dark, so, yeah.
Okay. Motion to approve Resolution 49-24, approving the installation of lighting at Cherry and Dakota Street parking lots.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 And we do need a roll call for this. Lindsay?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Adam?
Aye.
Maureen?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
All right, motion carried. And again, the amount for the total projected cost is coming out of TID 4. All right, number 5, discussion on the lead service line verification quote.
Thank you, Dar. So, I guess to start from the beginning, the EPA required that everybody across the United States do a full verification or an inventory of their service lines, their water service lines. This was passed down then through the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources, who made that requirement. This came about in late 2022, so we've had a couple years to do it. We finished this inventory, and basically we came up with the information that we have, and that's basically really the tricky thing, is that because we have such older parts of our community that we don't have, you know, the full set of plans for the street and the water lines. We haven't verified all these that they are not lead, but basically what we've done is the 216 laterals that we could not verify through any sort of plans, hydrants, anything like that, street reconstructions. So right now they're marked as other or assumed lead, so as part of this, that means we have to send out a letter, so that letter was sent out to everyone. And what we've been working on is we got a quote for Total Excavating to do the next step, which would be to verify if they are indeed containing lead. And basically what that process is they take a hydrovac truck, they take a very strong stream of water, shoot it, and then at the same time there's a vacuum next to it that's sucking out the dirt, and you go all the way down to where the lateral is up to 8 feet, and then you put a magnet down. If the magnet catches, it's either steel or lead. If it does not, it's copper, and then you know for sure that there's a lead gooseneck. So to be clear, these laterals aren't fully lead. It's basically where the connection from the main is to the lateral, if they have a lead gooseneck or not. So with that, this quote from Total Excavating was for $156,600. This is $725 on inspection to do all 216. We had some discussion at Health and Safety. They recommended moving forward with all 216 laterals and using Total Excavating, and then at Parks and Public Works, the discussion was let's do them in phases. So right now the proposed first phase would be 45 laterals found on Mississippi Street, Lawrence Street, Warren Street, and Cedar Lane. This is the area south of right over here, because this street is not scheduled to be replaced at all. So we do that verification first. This would be a cost of $32,625. So basically tonight we're asking you to discuss these two options and come up with your recommendation that we can then finalize and bring forward final financing and a resolution for approval at a later meeting. So I'll turn it over to council for comments or questions.
I have one.
Okay, go ahead, John.
Are we still looking for other contractors to get additional quotes, or is there nothing out there?
Carter and I discussed that he is looking to see if there's any other quotes out there, but I haven't heard it. That was just, last Monday, so I haven't heard anything yet from him.
My other deal is on the north side of it, the town, aren't we gonna replace some streets there that possibly would have to be dug up, so that we maybe should start on that side instead?
I would like, along with that, I would like to know the rationale of the Public Works folks committee, why you only want to do 45. Lead is a severe contaminant that must be removed. It threatens the health of especially children, and their developing brains are affected by it. And I think we've had enough lead absorption from my generation growing up in the 50s, that I would like to not see more damage done to future generations. And I think we should do the whole thing. And I'm on the Health and Safety Committee, and we did vote to move ahead with the whole thing. So what rationale are you using to only do 45?
It was a number of factors that went into that recommendation, and part of it is that some of these streets where the unknown laterals are scheduled for reconstruction, and even if these were verified as lead, they wouldn't likely be replaced until that street reconstruction was being completed.
Right.
So, again, we have the conversation, okay, I have an unknown lateral, an unknown, we don't know if it's lead or not. It's not gonna be replaced regardless until the street's being redone. So now we either,
Yeah, who made the decision that it wasn't going to be replaced until the street is revised? That wasn't my understanding. I thought that we would be looking for money that would be coming to replace those lines because it is an EPA regulation that's coming in that's new. So I would think that the federal government would be following up that.
my understanding is that there's currently no requirement to replace the lead from the
EPA.
From the EPA.
But are they coming out with new regulations?
That is unknown. Per John's point, there is no requirement. The only requirement we have moving forward is that every year we have to show that we're basically reporting, and basically EPA, or the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources, has indicated they would like to see us make progress on what we're doing with the laterals that are marked either assumed lead or unknown.
Well, what John's saying, why did we pick the end where we're not gonna do it?
I'll touch on that. It goes right along with what I had just mentioned, is that the streets that are scheduled for replacement, and we're gonna dig those streets up, at that time, we can easily identify.
But I thought most of our streets that we were talking about not have to dig all the way down to the sewer unless it was necessary. We were gonna do scrape and retar.
Yes, so I think the point that John is saying is, so like Locust and Elm Street, when we reconstructed and we had to redo all the laterals anyways, and we came up with about 21% of those laterals had lead goosenecks when we did Elm and Locust Street. So to John's point, some of these streets eventually we've been looking at trying to do, for instance, Campbell Street would be a one. However, we don't have a date moving forward. It's gonna be a very expensive project, but I think that was the point of Parks and Public Works Committee is, well, if we're gonna dig them up anyways, why are we spending up $725 to put?
Well, I agree with anything that but the ones that we were gonna do next year, we weren't gonna dig up, as far as I understood. if we didn't have to. That's why I was thinking about what we should be working on those, and so we can, instead of find out that we do have to dig it up and we already just retard it.
Well, I guess the only caveat I would have is that we have a 7-year capital improvement plan we're working on. The only street out of this group is Court Street that's on the plan. So I don't, if you say, well, in 30 years, we're gonna be digging all these up, I would say, yeah, you're probably right. But if you say, well, in 5 years or 7 years, you're gonna be digging all this, right, that wouldn't be. So we're gonna have to kind of be malleable based on what we hear from the federal and state government, than if we're just doing phases and kind of work on that.
Okay, I understand the rationale. What about, what kinds of anticipation of pushback from homeowners can you expect if we make a decision to do it in this phased way? Because they all got notices saying it's probable that they have lead in their water, and we had alternative directions for people to buy bottled water.
Did it say probable?
I think
No, I said, I think it said possible.
Possible.
Lead connections.
Yeah.
It says may contain lead which can have potential health risks. Well, and then it leads into the health effects of lead exposure. And just to be clear, this letter was required by the DNR, so we didn't come up with, this language is specifically what
Yeah.
they required us to put in.
Have you heard did anybody call about lead?
They're calling the Pierce County Department of Health, and they've reached out to us, and we've talked to them.
Okay.
I don't know how many, I think they've said 3 people have reached out to them to talk with them.
Mhm.
We did have, I think, I have not spoken to anyone personally, but I know Carter has spoken to a couple individuals.
Okay. Well, I guess I can understand the phasing in if we're not going to be replacing things fairly soon.
I guess I'd be fine with it as long as we do, if the only one is Court Street, if we at least do Court Street and then whatever.
You mean change which
Well,
road
instead of
we're
just
doing?
putting it down here, since Court Street's the only one that's part that's supposed to be fixed this year, we would check at least Court Street first before we do it.
Court Street would be 2029
Oh.
is what we have currently planned.
So we don't have any this coming year at all?
No, all the mill and overlay project that we would have in 2025 are all marked in this area, Tower Heights, Tower Road.
Oh, and they're all,
And they're all,
okay,
They're
Good.
new. They're-
so we would just be
Fair.
mill and overlaying that section.
yeah. That's fine with me.
I guess I think that's fine then, to do the phase-in.
Doesn't mean we can't change it if we decide we want to be more aggressive with it.
Well, that, and if you only do 45 with total, maybe we'll find a better company that's more reasonably priced for the rest of them too, you never know.
Potentially.
We're hoping.
No guarantee on that.
No, I'm just saying.
Probably
Yeah.
blow up, but yeah. We're looking for a motion on that?
Yeah, looking for a motion on this regarding which option, option 1 or option 2?
Option 2 is the 1 year,
We're only doing
the
45.
45.
Correct.
I'll make a motion that we do 45 spots on the south side of town for looking to see if we have a lead service line coming up here in 2025.
And we'll bring this isn't approving the actual work to be done, this is just so staff knows which direction we want to go, and then we'll actually still look for other companies that could do this work, and then bring that final resolution and approval to you later.
Will it, the only other thing is that would anybody take it on to do just 45? You know, I guess we'll find out.
Well, they were charging us per, so Matt indicated that.
Yes,
It's per spot.
if you do it in the late fall, winter, excavation companies don't have the work, like, they wouldn't do it in the summer, but if they, at least talking to Total, they would take, because they don't have any sort of work like this. So they would do it.
Okay.
Okay, so there was a motion.
I'll
for-
second.
Yeah, for option 2, and then a second to direct staff to look towards the project phase, within phases for this lateral testing, found on Mississippi Street, Warren Street, Cedar Lane, south of US Highway 35, and 8 unknown homes on Linden Street at a cost of $32,625. Again, this is just a motion to direct staff to start this project. Staff would still recommend taking this from the sewer fund, transferring it to the water fund. So we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Number 6 is notice of the 2025 spring elections. Matt?
Beginning on, and Rochelle can jump in if I get off, December 1st, filing nomination papers can begin. This year for the April 1st, 2025 election, we have Ward 1 to a 3-year term and Ward 2 to a 3-year term up for election. So if you go on our website, you can see the interactive GIS map where you can zoom in, you can find your lot if you want to know. You do have to live within the ward to which if you want to run. So.
And again, you have to have your nomination papers, which requires resident signatures. It opens up December 1st, 2024, and the deadline of filing this is January 7th of 2025. And the election will be held Tuesday, April 1st, 2025. So all this information is on the city website under elections.
And just to be clear, you have to get 20 signatures for
Minimum
those.
of 20.
25, I think.
20, minimum of 20
20.
Almost
20?
20.
And they have
for
to be-
alderperson.
And they have to be within your ward. So that's an important.
Okay.
John, are you Ward 1?
I am.
Oh, so are you going to run again? Oh, you haven't decided yet?
He's got time.
All right.
Show the hand.
TBD.
So does the spring election.
Stay
Rochelle,
tuned.
do you need a motion or anything?
Nope,
I don't think so, yeah.
just putting it out there.
Awesome, spreading the word. Other business, proposed council workshop, Monday, December 16th at 5 PM.
Yeah, so we wanted to meet to discuss specifically the phase 2 of the riverfront project. That was when we would normally have a Parks and Public Works Committee, but the thought process would be to have, instead of doing that meeting, have the council workshop instead to discuss that project, if that works for.
Works.
Yeah, works. Cool. And then we will need a motion on this, and it would be to, staff's proposed to cancel the city council meeting on Monday, December 23rd.
Oh, yeah. So moved.
Okay. So I guess we'll need a motion and then a second?
I'll second.
All right, Adam is a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Number
You
9
don't wanna
is
come here too?
closed session. There are none. The motion to
Motion
adjourn.
for adjournment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks,
Aye.
everyone.